to spell it, if you prefer EJ or Elgin, how old you are, what you do.
I prefer EJ, but it's Elgin Bates. It's ELGIN BATES. I'm a skill and development basketball trainer. I've been doing this for the past 8 to 10 years. I love what I do.
So we'll leave her age out of it for now. We'll answer that question if she wants to. I met her.
Her name is Edith Bates. It's EDITHBATES. I met her through my brother-in-law. We were real close friends at the time, and it was so crazy. I always looked at her as, man, that's my little sister, you know. And then one day I found out she don't want to be little sister, so I entertained it, and we ended up you know, dating, and after a while, hey, we got married.
How old were you?
I was 27, 28 at the time.
Talk about growing up. What town you grew up in? Where you went to high school, college, pro?
I grew up in Milan. I was a country boy. I grew up helping my grandfather, helping my uncles and stuff, bale hay, working in the garden, picking greens, all that type of stuff. I went to school at Milan Elementary, all the way up to high school until my senior year. Then I ended up transferring to Ann Arbor Pioneer, and then I graduated from Pioneer. It was fun. I mean, after that, went to Kentucky Wesleyan, played ball there in Owensboro, Kentucky, and from Kentucky Wesleyan, I landed in Switzerland and played ball there.
For how long?
6 years.
What position were you?
I played 1 through 5, actually. I more so the 2 than anything else, but I played them all.
Height, weight?
I'm 6'3½", but I always say 6'4". If it's a half, you round up.
Yeah. What was your playing weight?
Playing weight was 215. Now I'm at 235, 40-ish.
What held you back from either a bigger college opportunity or like NBA or like higher level Europe?
When I was in school, I didn't take it seriously. I'm gonna be honest. I was an athlete, and you know, I was one of those ones who let the gas pump the head up too much. You know, so I didn't take my academics as seriously as I should have. So that ACT bit me. So I ended up going, you know, D2. But it's a learning experience that I've learned from, and that's why I'm really big on my kids today.
So you would have been Prop 48, like you didn't have the test scores?
Yeah.
Where could you have gone if you had grades?
Anywhere. I could have went to Stanford. I could have went to Temple. I could have went to Kansas. I had offers from everywhere.
Where did you have offers from?
Everywhere. I could have went anywhere.
How does that experience shape how you are Amani's parent, both as an academic side and the athletic side?
That experience, it really was a great lesson. I mean, it humbled me enough to really implement all the things that I need to in him to help him be more successful than what I was. I mean, and Mom, she doesn't play. She goes to work full time, you know, goes to school, straight A student. So there's no excuses for Imani at all, you know. I'm the good cop, she's the bad cop. Then we switch roles from time to time.
Tell us about what she does. Something with the Red Cross.
She's at the American Red Cross. She's a supervisor there. She deals with. At first, she was in apheresis. I think dealing with platelets. And she's a supervisor. And she runs the ship over there.
And she recently earned a degree of some kind.
Yeah.
What?
She got a degree. Her degree was in business administration.
Tell us about Amani.
Amani's a good kid. I mean, you know, I love him to death. Whatever I can do for him, it's sky's the limit, man. Whatever you want, hey, as long as you're trying to do the right thing for yourself, whatever I can do for you, just say it. I got you.
When did you know or think your son might be special in basketball?
This is like when I knew Imani was going to do something with the basketball. Even to this day, as of right now, he still has a little mini ball that he keeps with him, you know, which is crazy to me.
In bed?
Not in bed, but he has one downstairs that he always had a favorite ball.
Is that like that's his blanket?
Pretty much, you know.
How old was he there, you think?
Maybe 13 months.
What?
You know, 13 months, 15 months.
What? So he's 6'7", 155?
Yeah.
And you said he's grown about 6-7 inches in 2 years?
Yep.
And your wife is how tall?
5'8.5". So we're 5'9".
So, have doctors or anyone tried to guess how tall he'll be?
Well, I guess after his second visit, he was off the chart. So nobody knew. They couldn't tell us, and I didn't care to know.
Has anybody guessed lately, or you just know?
I just know he doesn't want to be 7 feet, so I say he might end up at 6'9", 6'10". We're putting it out in the universe, you know, so hopefully it hears us.
Why does he not want to be 7 feet?
I
hear that.
I guess maybe being so tall, so young, I guess he feels awkward a little bit, so to speak. But, you know, 7 foot, I mean, you're 6'10", what's a couple more inches, man?
What is it like on a day-to-day basis, whether you're at Malu's Chicken in Ipsy or you're walking out of a gym and people are like, hey, that's Imani Bates, or you hear people talking about your son not knowing he's your son? You know, what is that like? What's the frequency of somebody knowing who your son is?
It gets hectic, but I'm used to it now, and I think he is too. You know, he's a really good kid. I mean, he doesn't, you know, turn nobody down. He always, you know, he's respectful to all the kids and, you know, potential fans. You know, I say fans because a lot of kids follow him around, and even some of the adults, that's Imani Bates. I'm walking around with the Bates shirt on, and they know I'm his coach, and they're not. But it's cool to hear that about your child. You know, it's really the hard work paying off.
In Indianapolis, a mom on the other team pulled Imani to go take a picture with her team and her son, and she's taking selfies with him. Has that happened before? What's that like?
It's happened before, but the good thing that I respect about it, like most of the people that do know me as his father, they come ask me first, is it okay if Monty, you know, take? And I'm always like, sure, you know, he's with kids, you know, you got some of these kids that look up to him. Why not? I think that'd be great.
What has YouTube done for your son's, I guess, notoriety?
I think it helped put him on a map. You know, as far as being, you know, a top kid in the class of 2022, playing the game of basketball, I think it actually helped him out a little bit just to get noticed.
What do you think he's really good at, and what do you hope, you know, over the next 6 months, year, 2, 3, 4 years, with the drills that we'll see and other things that we do, how can he get better? Both from a skill standpoint, from a strength standpoint, from a stamina standpoint, where can he grow?
I think he can grow his whole game, just overall, starting from the mental aspect of the game, just his approach. I think he's very well at shooting the ball, passing the ball. Even the defense has gotten a lot better. And he's a great teammate. You know, as far as his teammates, he has their back 100%. So I think in time he'll be a better shooter, a better passer, a better defender. And right now, the thing I really want him to be good at is the defensive end, because I know what he can do offensively. And that's what all of my kids, I know what they can do offensively. I'm not worried about putting the ball in the hole. It's just the other end of the floor. Once you can play defense, and you know your rotations and know what you're doing as a basketball player, you can always play.
When we talked for the first time at Clegg and we talked about this journey that you're going to let us peek on, I said, you know, there's going to be people that are going to want to give you money and get to your son and cut corners and do whatever. What did you say?
We're not for sale. You know, we believe in what we're doing, and we don't care about cutting no corners. It's a process to everything. So, and the harder you work for something, once you receive your reward, you'll appreciate it more. So that's our goal, is to get to where we want to go. Even if it's just after college, you know, I'm done, Dad. I'm cool. I accomplished everything I want to do, even though he has the potential to go to the NBA. But we have a long road ahead of us right now.
You mentioned LeVar Ball. What do you think of his approach?
LeVar Ball's approach. Some of his antics I like. Some of them, you know, I just don't like loud, so to speak. I don't really care for loud. As far as the marketing aspect, he's a genius in my opinion. But just, you know, saying my kid's the greatest, this and that. Okay, that's your belief. And I'm cool with that, but that's not my approach. You know, I would never tell my kid or even put out how great or how good I think he is, because I always feel that it's something you can be working on, regardless of your skill set. Right now, you could be great, but you'll never hear that from me. I might say good game, but this is what we need to work on. And
you mentioned a reason why you are his coach. Do you remember?
Because I hold him accountable. I don't allow him to be Imani Bates on my team. Other coaches, well, I got Imani, so I'm gonna let him get away with something that I won't let another kid get away with. That's not happening with me. If you make a mistake and you don't correct it, and I tell you what you did wrong, hey, what happened? This is what happened. I explained it to you. Now you can correct it and go back in, or if not, you can stay here. We okay.
You also mentioned some predators that slither.
That's the game. That's the game of basketball nowadays. You know.
Tell people who don't know what we're talking about.
It's a lot of snakes that come after like top tier kids, especially if they can find a weakness in their program. You know, as far as the single mother, there's no father figure around who's blind to the fact of what's going on. Well, okay, well, we're gonna give them these shoes, and you know, the bribes, even the money, the apparel, you know, just to persuade them to come to their program, not even having their best interest at heart. They just know that they could use that kid.
Without naming names, what type of snakes have tried to come at Imani through you? You know, whether it's shoe companies, prep schools, other EAU teams, you know, charter academies, other public high schools, private high schools. Who has come at you? Not necessarily in a bad way.
But I done had everybody approach me, as far as prep schools, high schools, which is cool. I have no problem with that, because if I was in maybe their position, I might inquire myself, like, well, what is your son doing? Or what is he going to do, you know? I mean, if you don't ask the question, you would never know the answer, you know? So it's automatically, like my father used to tell me back in the day, well, if you want to date her and you never ask her, the answer gonna automatically be no, you know? So you got to find out.
You got to ask to get, but then you got to be ready, right?
You have to be ready.
You know, we asked Imani, and I think one of the interesting things about this story is every year or so, or along the way, there'll be questions that no one knows the answer to. Right. So I'll ask you, where do you think he'll go to high school? What are the options? And while we're talking about it, your frustration that in the 8th grade in Michigan, he can't play high school basketball.
Well, as far as high school, we're undecided right now, because it's not that far away, but it's kind of, you know, we have a little time left. But for me, I want to go wherever he wants to go. you know, wherever he feel that he fits best. I mean, we talked about prep schools, we talked about high schools in the area, and right now he doesn't have a answer, so I'm just waiting to see what he's really leaning toward maybe sometime next year as far as to where he wants to go, because I'm all for what he wants to do, because he's a pretty smart kid and he knows what he wants.
When that first day we talked outside, when he walked out of the door with his cousin, holding an honor roll certificate, can you take me back to that moment and what you're thinking about? Or
I was proud of him. I mean, he said he was dead. I know I'm gonna be on the honor society. I'm gonna get my award. You know, I said I can go ahead, man. I always say shoot for 4.0 or above. That way, you know, if you get it, cool. But if you fall a little short, you still on honor roll. You still got over a 3.0 GPA. And you know, he did really well. I was happy for him. Not only that, the thing that I love more than anything as a parent, because I'm all about my kids, is to see him smile. You know, to see that he's happy and to see that the hard work that he's putting in is paying off. You know, and that he's not cheating the process in anything.
And as somebody who got a peek of Pioneer and has your son in Ann Arbor Public Schools, can you talk about the diverse socioeconomic, religious, ethnic makeup of his school, which is like the United Nations, and it's a good academic school, and that he's being around kids that do well in school and are thinking about college when they're in the 7th, 8th grade?
No, I mean, I like Ann Arbor schools. I mean, personally, I do. I mean, it's very diverse. You got so many different ethnicities in the system to where you can actually get to know these kids and kind of figure out what their life is like, not only here, but how their life was, say, at home, you know, whatever country you may have came from or whatever, just to try to get like a peek of what it's like to be someone else. I mean, to interact with all these different kids and, you know, see what different cultures are doing and learning from them. That's great.
One of the things I wanted to get your perspective on, we talked a little bit about it or around it, but that Amani and you all have a chance to show the world this journey, and also maybe not be the stereotypical, like he needs basketball to get out of the ghetto, dad's not around, you know, they turn on the oven for heat, you know. Right. You guys are doing okay, you're both in his life, he does well in school. Like, this isn't that tragic story, you know, like he probably would be okay without basketball.
He would be fine without basketball. You know, I just know to him, if he hear me say that, what you talk about, the basketball is life. There's no plan B. This is A. But, you know, I'm going to do my part along the way. You know, I'm going to make sure my grades are good and everything else. But, you know, no, without basketball, Imani will be fine. He's a smart kid, and plus he has his family.
Talk about his demeanor, because he's humble and welcoming, but yet if you ask him, you're going to hear a confident kid. And when he plays with a little bit of an edge, and he might, you know, yell at a ref like and one, or you might hear him cuss like another kid might. But that, you know, he's.
You know, I look at it like the game of basketball. It's a competitive sport. You know, some people have more fire than others. You know, and some people can get it mixed up to where this kid is overconfident or he's cocky, you know. And Monty is his biggest critic. You know, he's a perfectionist. If he's in the gym and miss a shot that he normally makes 9 out of 10 times, he's gonna get upset. You know, he might boot the ball across the gym just because he knows that I put in countless hours doing this same shot over and over again. What's going on? And like, you know, we were in a tournament before, and the ref tried to eject him from a game just because he got into it with a kid. But I'm like, they're not fighting. There's no pushing. There's no nothing. They're just yapping. Their mouths are moving. There's nothing else but that. So why are you targeting him? Just because he's 6'7" and the other kid's 5'10", But he's a very fiery competitor. That's all I can say. He's not cocky, but he's confident.
When we were at Malu's, you said some interesting things. I wasn't taking notes, but I can jog your memory of players you've shown him over the years that he might be able to borrow from, and why. Explain to us why you also have told him about Len Bias.
Len Bias was, he was one of the top guys that would have been, I would say, a franchise player for it. Actually, it was the Boston Celtics. But due to certain decisions that he made, he was never able to show how great he would have been, just because he made a bad decision and it cost him his life. And I wanted Imani to really see that, just because all it takes is one bad decision that can mess up everything. So then, and all the other players, like, I showed him like, Hakeem Olajuwon footage, just because I feel like he was one of the best big men in the league to this day, as far as footwork and really, having great feet, because as a basketball player, that's how you beat guys, off of your footwork. So I wanted him to see Hakeem Olajuwon because he did that in the post. I wanted him to watch, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, watch how they did it, just because they were guards and how they did it off the dribble. But they were more efficient than the players are today. The players today, they tend to dribble the air out the ball a little too much. I'm an A to B guy. If it only takes me 2 dribbles to get here, I'm taking my 2 dribbles, beating you to my spot, and taking my shot. I don't need the crowd to go ooh ah, because it's only 2 points. So that's what I'm trying to get him to understand. Make it simple. Make the game as easy as possible. The more efficient you are, I guess what, the longer your career would be.
Who does he remind you of anybody in the NBA?
He kind of reminds me of two players, actually. He reminds me of Anthony Hardaway and a Tracy McGrady. Those 2 guys, he kind of remind me of those guys, just because they were bigger guards that handled the ball and could do multiple things on the court.
I'll give you a penny.
Give me a penny. Okay.
All right. You good, Mike?
Yeah, good.
Thanks.
Yeah, really good. Thank you.